Hey guys, so we're gonna try something a bit new today. I've never tried this before. Um, but I want to show you guys some of the hang on, let me plug in my laptop. I want to show you guys. There we go. I want to show you guys some of the um wow, apologize, guys. I can't even think right now. Give me 1 second. Battery's not charging. Battery settings. There we go. Okay, I think I'll switch back to battery on time soon. But anyway, let's restart. So we're trying something a bit different today. We are going to I want to do the theory video for you guys. So we are going to be doing that. And let me bring up my Safari. I don't see, I don't know how to do this. Hang on 1 sec. Let me delete. Delete. Okay, so let me bring up Safari. There we go. Now we got this. I'll figure this out eventually, one of these days. Um, but the nice thing is that after a while of doing it, it'll be old hat for me, and I'll just be like, ba 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 ba, hey. But I wanted to talk about our theory video since we finished up the end of chapter 4 of Scarlet Hollow. And so I wanted to discuss with you guys um some theories that have been going around. And also I wanted to give you guys some resources in case you are okay, what I have no idea. We'll figure this out. We'll figure this out eventually, guys. But give me 1 sec. Yeah, I got A03 archive of our own. We gotta log in and boop and do the password and click remember me. Oh, remember me and log in. Okay, let me try this. Hold on. Like, I do not know why this is not working, but like I said, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm a part of AO3. I think I mentioned it in a previous video. I used to have an account on fanfiction.net, and for some reason I could not log back in there. It kept being all glitchy for me. So I looked it up online, and we have this site. So there are my two stories I have going on. I wanted to see, and I thought I had it saved. I have maybe it's in my inbox. Oh, here we go. So this user, Penbreed, did a multi-page thing about Scarlet Hollow. And so basically, here we go. So basically, think about the main theory about Scarlet Hollow is that Scarlet Hollow is that we, as the main character, we're the cousin who comes in, finds out about the death of her aunt, gets to know her cousin better, and all that, gets to know everybody in the town. So there's a belief that something is going to happen to the cousin, or that something is supposed to happen to our character um toward the end of the at the end of the week on the Sunday. So but yeah, if you want to go to her, the name is Wayne Penbrook. I'm assuming that's Welsh. I could be wrong. But the title is Yelling About Scarlet Hollow, a lore dive. And they just go through, they have everything set up by chapters. And there are, like, there's even and also, so bit of a spoiler, but if you remember me saying that there's a trait that will let us into the Forbidden Wing um on our first day? If we have Street Smart, which is really kind of fun because you can be a kind of I don't want to say New York, but that's what pops into my mind. It's like, hey, I'm walking here, kind of thing. And so but yeah, so if you have the train street smart, the first day you get there, once Tabitha leaves, you can go right to the Forbidden Wing. You can pick the lock that's on the door, and you won't like discover anything weird except for you'll hear a sound that really can only be made by a human, which once you hear the sound, once you get told what it is, you'll be like, and then you replay the game, you'll be like, that's Wayne. Wayne's hiding out in the Forbidden Wing. Which also brings up another interesting point, because Tabitha keeps saying that the Forbidden Wing is like super messed up, super dangerous, all that, and yet, like, I'll spoil this for you. There's a piano in the room, like a big grand piano, and the noise we hear is somebody playing said piano. So my thought process is that Wayne is hiding out especially considering that he also likes to hide out in the closet in our room. And also, So I'm kind of going all over the place. So let me finish with this one. I'll try to remember what just popped into my head. But like Wayne stays in our room, but he obviously can't sleep there if he does sleep. So, which again, we don't know 100% for sure. But yeah, there is a thought process because if you remember from our playthrough, um, they Tabitha gets a goat, and one of the things chores that she has to go do, which we accompany her on, is to get certain herbs. And I find it really interesting that there's now a goat in the greenhouse. You know, the goat is the squatter that drove Dustin's mom out. So, but here's my thought. Why does Tabitha have a goat? And why is Tabitha trying to keep the goat calm, contained, all that? So the if the current theory is that when we come to town originally, we are supposed to be the sacrifice. Because also, remember in when we were experiencing the haunting, remember Avery was locked up in Scarlet Hollow in a room in there. And if you also remember, he tells us to take our our perfectly healthy legs or something like that and get out of here. And if you also remember, one of the visions we got as a result of one of those seals was Teddy, who was in the Charles Shaw mine shaft when it collapsed, but somehow got out, but his legs were crushed, and so he couldn't walk. So Enoch Scarlet, who is one of our ancestors, was, because you remember the vision, Enoch comes in, Teddy is like all upset, says, Enoch, I tried, I couldn't, my legs, they say I'll never walk again. And Enoch is like, don't worry, Teddy, we've got this. I've talked to the witch. And it's like, number one, what I found interesting is that Teddy didn't know who that was. He was more like the witch, no such thing, versus you want to talk to her, why, kind of thing. So the thought process, and this person goes into a lot more detail. So if you want to go to archiveofourown.org, search this person up, and they have it's 5 pages so far of just theory, and she's really good. But like what I find interesting is if you have, and to come back to this, if you have street smart as a trait, and you break into the Forbidden Wing, you will find a family tree on the wall. And like some names are scratched out, some names have like different symbols on them, which I think symbolize if they're a child, if they died, that kind of thing. And so what I find interesting is you can kind of figure it out. But like one of the things that she has is like, what the hell is with the wings? And like some of the family tree portraits have wings on them. So we don't know if that means if they died earlier than normal, if they, and she says usually where a person had no descendants. So if you guys remember, during the haunting, when we had that one room, then that one person that Avery was representing. So there's a theory that there's an entity. And of course, I know a lot of you are going, well, of course there's an entity. It's whatever is possessing Wayne. But maybe there's more than one, or maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. But what I find interesting is, so I don't think we're meant to be just a sacrifice, as in Tabitha was supposed to kill us at the end of the week, and then our blood would hold back the curse for another how many years or whatever. So I do find it interesting, and I honestly, even though I don't normally like to do the kind of playthroughs where like I'm a mean person, but I kind of want to do it, or at least be mean to Tabitha, just so I can see if Tabitha is so I can see if Tabitha still gets the goat. Because the way I'm thinking, and I don't know, again, we're not given a whole lot of information, but we are given a little bit here and there. So, but yeah, I do find it really kind of interesting. It's like, but anyway, so, Teddy got his legs crushed, and the, and Enoch was like, you'll be fine. I talked to the witch, and, you'll be fine, whatever. Well, then it turns out that they had to lock the entity into a room. And I didn't point this out at the time, but I think it's on like the first day? Or no, maybe it's the second. No, because that's you when you go down the bed. I don't remember exactly when it is, but it shows the outside of this room with a bunch of locks on the door. And it also shows wood, the door frame, been like crunched on either side. Like somebody is grabbing onto the door frame and being like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So My thought process is that Teddy, because remember, they said Teddy died. They said that Teddy died Teddy has been recorded to have died in the mine collapse. But we know that's not true because we saw the vision of him talking to Enoch. So, and this is kind of where the theory gets its main meat from, because a bunch of people on the internet are thinking Teddy was sacrificed, not only physically, but his body was also used as a vessel for the entity. And, like, I don't know if I want to spoil it, but if you play with the trait of mystical, when you're doing the ghost, the haunting, it doesn't show, like, it doesn't show Stella. It doesn't show Avery. It doesn't show, it shows who they are representing. And Avery's person who he's representing is the entity. And also considering there's an entity that is staying, that has taken over the form of a miner who also don't even know if I should spoil this part, but it turns out there's a reason why he's hanging around the manor and why he hasn't, like, gone to Sam Wayne's house or anything. There's a whole part we missed where we talk to the miners about Sam. And one miner in particular, if we have a certain trait, will meet us later on its own and give us some information. But it turns out that Sam Wayne the miner dated Tabitha for a while. And so my thought process, especially knowing what we know, that Tabitha likes Stella, so I'm assuming that Tabitha is at least gay, if not bisexual. One doesn't really know for sure. Again, we don't get a lot of information. We may get more information, but turns out that from what we find out from those little interactions, that Tabitha and Sam dated for a bit, but I honestly think Tabitha used Sam as a sacrifice. And, like, here's the thing, because this goes back, like it says G1, that's Generation 1. So it shows, whoop, it shows, like, the whole thing. And, like, it's interesting. Oh, and also, if you have Booksmart, when you're in the library, you can read a lot more books. So there are pluses and minuses for Like I said, there are pluses and minuses for every trait you can use. So, like book smart, you can read more books in the library and get more information, which helps you at the end of the haunting because you can talk Charles Shaw Jr. down, basically. You know, neither you or Tabitha have to give up years, but like, this is fascinating. This is really interesting. So, I highly recommend this document, and it goes on for like, I don't even remember. Give me a second. Let me scroll. I think it goes on for like 5 chapters, if I remember right. And so, and here's the other interesting thing. She has a thing where she talks about Sybil. And there's a whole theory about Sybil being the witch, and, is Sybil the witch that has she been around for ages? There's also a potential time loop theory where, like, the same thing keeps happening, and it's kind of like, the end, which is why I believe the ditchlings are showing up, because the ditchlings are showing up because, it's gonna be the end. Like, I have a feeling that if we don't show up, that at the end of the week, if there's not a vessel for the entity, like this entity has been around for a while, and it's kind of your classic make deal with the devil kind of type thing. Um, but yeah, so like I said, I highly recommend this video. They talk about the history of witches. They talk about tea, and they also talk about the castor bean. And like she said, now with P9 Booksmart, you spot the Oodlander and castor beans in the tea room. So, but yeah, in if you do not drink Sybil's tea at all, you can basically, if you don't have the tea at all, then that flash we got when we were in the safe room with Dr. Kelly, she basically tells you that Sybil's the one who gave her the castor beans and told her what to do, told her how to do it, how to do the thing. And also, there's a thought process that the tea, that Sybil, that were given to like drink or whatever, the tea, basically leaves everybody open to her suggestion because if you notice, at the end of chapter 3, when we're getting ready, after the haunting and after we take care of everything, that, Sybil keeps saying, now, Kanika, you need to get home and get some rest. You had a cold. There's also a possibility of getting to know Kanika better, and you find out that she actually left Scarlet Hollow a while ago, but had to come back when her dad died. And ever since then, Sybil's been trying to keep her in town. Now, is that for her protection, or is it for some other purpose? Is she meant to stay? Because it's really interesting. Like, you can get to know certain characters better. Like, if you spend a lot of time with Stella, she basically is like, I want to stay here. My parents' house is here. My dog is here. My friends are here. Everything's okay. But if you talk to Kanika and spend any amount of time with her, then Kanika is the exact opposite. She's like, I love my friends, I love Stella, I love Gretchen, but I want out. I want to live my life. And you also have the option to make plans to leave town together. So, and I like the flirting options they have. I think it's definitely more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely more realistic, in my opinion. But yeah, so, and if you have street smart, you won't drink the tea ever. Like, you can avoid drinking the tea in chapter 2, or you can just have coffee. Um, but yeah, if you don't drink the tea, and I can drink the tea in this one because it does help. Like, she is a bit of a healer, you know. Like, it does help, especially if you're the one to take the responsibility and give up years of your life. It does help. But if you're street smart, I don't know. I just like street smart because you're definitely more snarky. It's like my usual playthrough is kind of like, oh, I'm just a normal person. I'm getting involved in all this weird stuff. I'm kind of taking it on the chin. If you're street smart, you can be like, what the is going on? And you swear a bit more if you have street smart. So, but yeah, that's fun. Also, if you have mystical and street smart, you can ask to drink. You can ask to read the tea leaves, because she offers to read your tea leaves, and that's when she gives you all the doom and gloom stuff. But if you have mystical, you take a look, and it's like you realize to yourself that there's nothing. There's no symbols, there's no anything, which I find really funny. So, very interesting. So, Sybil, for some reason, is trying to keep everything as it was, but she's not just like an old fashioned mom. she's got a reason for it. And if you think about the fact that we had to go in and Tabitha got some herbs um from Sybil, but she didn't know what the herbs were for. She didn't know what the tea was for. Well, think about it. How long has this been going on? Did Sybil also help her land with whatever this is? And I also really like this because she talks about the tea and everything, and then she says, "Okay, you say, but if Sybil's tea is served at the diner, Sybil sports Scarlet, and miners hang out in the diner, why are the miners striking?" Short answer, because they drink coffee. Yeah. So anyway, I just find it really interesting. And also, I don't remember if we saw this part, but when when you guys first get back from the mountains, you find the ditchlings, whether or not you get to save Duke, you're outside of her thing, Stella's talking to her, and then all of a sudden you see Wayne standing there, and he's like, "I've been waiting for you," or something like that. "Welcome home." And then Sybil sees him and says, "Go home, Wayne. I can't help you right now." So Sybil, I think, knows who the entity is. I think Sybil is helping the Scarlets because way back in the day, Enoch, or it could even go farther back, but Enoch is definitely kind of the catalyst, I would say, because I don't remember hearing anything prior to Enoch. There's not really anything special that comes up before Enoch, but Enoch is definitely more of what's the word I'm looking for? He's definitely more of you know, he made the deal. Now, that does bring up an interesting question. Did the entity appear to Enoch for the first time, or did Enoch seek out the entity because he knew of its existence? And again, we don't know for sure. But yeah, so, and I also find it funny because Dr. Kelly is like, "I don't want to, when we ask her about the medicine, Dr. Kelly is like, "I don't want to talk about that woman." And then we get the flash if we drink in the tea. But if we don't drink the tea, I'm not going to spoil it, basically, but I'm not going to spoil, like, the whole thing, but you guys should definitely go through and play it. And play it on Street Smart, because that'll let you not drink the tea at all. And if you drink the tea once, you're basically under her power, Sybil's power. So, but yeah, if I don't remember a whole lot of it. I might have played again with Street Smart, but I do find it really interesting. I also kind of want to play, I don't know if I played yet, under Street Smart and Mystical, because they are two, like, opposite things. And I just think that would be funny seeing them try to mesh. Because Mystical is kind of like New Age, kind of your thing. As a matter of fact, if you're Mystical, you should get along with Sybil, because the two of you are somewhat alike. However, but yeah, and I also find it interesting, if you remember right, who shows up at the end to knock everybody out of the spell that they're under? Sybil. Who's the one who tries to convince Tabitha to give up years of their life? Sybil. So, and it's hard because Sybil, like the first time I played through, I thought Sybil was a perfectly nice, if maybe a little overprotective person, but then by like chapter 4, it's like, what? She gave Dr. Kelly the medicine to keep Reese under her thumb, basically, and to keep him sick and all that, and she's keeping Kanika from leaving town. And then it's like, what? I don't, like it's funny because if y'all remember right, Sybil mentions to us that there's a black cat in our midst, that we are not to trust this black cat. I think she's the black cat. I think she's the one that she shouldn't trust. So, but again, I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening. Like, I don't know if Sybil's just in the long line of witches they're working with the Scarlet, or if she's a lot older than she claims to be. But yeah, so anyway, I meant, and then she goes into a lot of the symbols and stuff, and like I don't know about all of that, but I think some of it's kind of interesting. Um, but anyway, that's the main piece of evidence that I have, and I really like how this person has laid out their thoughts and everything. But there's a lot of lore in the game, but it's very hidden. Like we have to dig it up. And like I kind of get the impression that the members of the town are just like, it kind of reminds me of the TV show Once Upon a Time, where everybody was stuck in Maine and they couldn't go beyond the borders of it. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit, except for the fact that people do leave, but then they come back. So I don't know if there's something that ties all the people into that. And I don't know if that's the entity or what it is, but I would definitely look up theories about this because, again, like, it's such a fascinating game. It's such a good game that it's just, there is, like, I don't know how to describe it, but there is just so much about this game that is just like, you know. And what I like about it is if you choose different trades, different events end up differently, or even you may get different dialogue options and that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I just think it's a really good game, and I really encourage y'all to play it. And, but yeah. Anyway, if you want me to talk a little bit more about this, let me know. That's the only thing I could really think about. It's just the fact that Sybil ends up being a lot more responsible for things than we think at the beginning of the episode. You know, at the beginning of the episode, beginning of the game, she's just like a nice old lady who makes tea for people and who, you know, believes in magic, that kind of thing. And then she has a daughter who's like the complete opposite. And then comes to the conclusion throughout the week that, whoa, magic is real and shit is going down, you know? But yeah, I would definitely read Yelling About Scarlet Hollow if you guys want to. Otherwise, I think if you just type in Scarlet Hollow theories, you'll come across some really good posts and issues. Oh, and especially if you go on the Reddit, I'm part of the Scarlet Hollow Reddit, and you know they have some threads in there that are very much discussing theories and potential stuff. But like I said, my main belief is that every so often there has to be a sacrifice, that the entity has made a deal with the Scarlet and possibly with Sybil that disaster won't fall the town if if they get a new vessel. And I say they just simply because I don't know if this vessel is male or female or just agent of chaos. No idea. We have gotten really no information on the entity other than that we believe that it possessed Teddy for a while. Teddy Scarlet, after he got Flake's crush. And like the other interesting thing that I found is you would think that if a demonic entity or some kind of god or whatever entity of chaos possessed somebody with crushed legs, you would think that wouldn't stop them. They'd be able to get up and walk. But apparently not. Apparently, so, and that also makes me think that this entity is not as powerful as it would like us to think it is. Because I also like find it interesting that when we first meet Sam Wayne, that he's like, well, first off, he welcomes us home. Second off, he, when we meet him at the mining facility, that he's like, stay home, you're in danger, stay home here. And then at the end of chapter 4, he's like, when we ask him, well, why didn't you try to stop me from going to Reese's house? And he's like, why are you always trying to help me and save me and everything? Well, and what's interesting, Wayne can be a romantic option. We can flirt with Wayne. Which, again, if that's your thing, not gonna yuck your yum, but I'm still like, okay. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, so Wayne is so this deity or demon or whatever he is. Like, again, I don't think, whatever he is, I don't think he's very powerful. Because, again, can't walk unless his vessel has working legs, So I would assume the same thing would be like if his vessel had a broken arm, he couldn't use whatever arm was broken. Or if his vessel couldn't see very well. It kind of makes me wonder. Because, like, when I play a character, I always put myself as the visual representation of the character. So now I'm thinking, would whatever the entity is, would it still need glasses after inhabiting my body? But then there's the whole twist that you can flirt with the entity. And it's like, because you're not flirting with Wayne. Wayne is dead. Sam Wayne is dead. He is long gone. And it's just his body. But I do find it interesting. And there's also a possibility, and I meant to mention this earlier, but I think that, because remember when we first get to the manor and Tabitha's like, yeah, only go to your bedroom, the bathroom, those few places. Why is our room the only room, besides, I'm assuming, Tabitha's room, which we only see a very little bit of? Why is our room one of the few rooms that's relatively decent? I think, this is my personal theory, I haven't seen this pop up anywhere, but my personal theory is we are given Pearl Ann's room. Because remember, there was two people living in that house. There was Pearl Ann and there was her daughter Tabitha. Now again, that might be a little gross because Pearl Ann died recently. So we are hoping that at least the sheets have been changed and everything's been given a good scrub death. Also, considering that Janie was helping prepare the room, makes me think that she did a good job. But again, I do find that kind of hilarious. So it's just kind of like, okay. It's like, why are you giving me Pearl Ann's room? But if you all remember right, I think it's like the second night, um, after we go home and we go to bed, there's that scene at the end where we kind of rise up from bed and go down to the basement from our point of view. Kind of makes me wonder, number one, if that happened to Pearl Ann, because think about it, the entity hangs out in our closet, which used to be Pearl Ann's closet, I'm assuming. Again, we don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that since it's one of the few rooms that is not falling apart at the seams, I am assuming that it is, definitely yeah. I think we're in Pearl Ann's room. And also, like, there's two potential hypotheses for the thing, for that vision at the end. Either we get up in our own body and walk down to the basement, or we're dreaming and being shown Pearl Ann doing that. So my question is, why did she go down to the basement? Well, and the reason why I think it's like showing Pearl Ann doing this is because one of the first things we do is we come across Tabitha, who in her room, who looks up at us like a sad child who just been scolded and told to go to bed, possibly without supper, and her door, like she's sitting on the bed. I don't think she can reach the door from where she's sitting, but then the door slams shut. So it's more likely Pearl Ann did that. Like I can imagine Pearl Ann scolding Tabitha for something, and then sent to the point where, and then shutting her door, basically grounding her, saying, you're gonna be in here and think about what you did, or it's time to go to bed, blah, 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 kind of thing. So, anyway, that's my thought process. Is that that was showing Pearl Ann. And Pearl Ann went down to the basement for some reason. Now, I am also assuming that we will be going down to the basement of the house at some point. Possibly. Again, I don't know like how many chapters there are supposed to be. I know there's a chapter 5 coming, and I'm going to assume that it's just going to get that each day is going to have its own supernatural event. Maybe, maybe not. And also considering we have 4 days now, so we were on, so, well, depending on when we got there, Because I think we get there on Monday. So we're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have three days left, potentially. So chapter 5 is coming out. And so then that'll be Friday. And then we'll get to see. I honestly believe that each day is going to have its own major event, because that's the way it's been going. Like, the event for the first night we're there was Duke and discovering the ditchling, whether or not we save him. Night 2 is the kids sneaking into the mine and us saving them, or there's other options. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's other options which are less good, obviously. Then chapter 3 is the haunting, obviously. And then chapter 4 is the situation with Reese, where we find out that he's a monster. Also, I'm not really sure about the Reese situation. Like, I've seen some theories that the entity is responsible for that, but we don't know. Because, like, Dr. Kelly says they were, like, really sweet, romantic, but sleep paralysis thing, which don't normally match. You know, when I think of sleep paralysis, I think of there's something in this room. I'm in bed and I cannot move. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know for sure. Anyway, but yeah, so next chapter that comes out, I will get a download and we will continue on from that. But in the meantime, we might just play something different. Because like I said, I don't know when chapter 5 is coming out. And, yeah, so. But also let me know, you guys, if you want me to start a new playthrough once the, upgrade gets uploaded to Steam and stuff. Let me know what you want me to do there, because we can keep going with our current, and then we can also have a separate playthrough where we maybe choose different traits, and because I really want to show you guys Mystical Street Sprint, because Street Sprint is hilarious in a few places. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. If you guys look up any theories, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think is going on. Let me hear what your favorite theory is. And we can discuss it. And otherwise, I think I'm going to let go for now. Let me know what game you want me to play next. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I will talk to you later. Bye.